Short timer.
Mixed feelings.
Yeah. I know, it's aggravating. Oh, it's live.
I'm fine.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and call to order the November 15th, 2023 Montgomery County Board of Supervisors meeting. And our first order of business is electronic participation because Cher Blevins is out of town and she would like to call in. And so because we're able to do that, according to section 2.23708.3 of the Code of Virginia, I'm going to ask for a motion that Chair Blevins can go ahead and call in as requested on Wednesday, November 15th, 2023 at 7 p.m. Is there a motion to do so?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, and Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Mr. Shepherd?
Aye.
Mr. Fidzikowski?
Aye.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Ms. Biggs?
Aye.
Mr. Motts?
Aye.
Ms. Bone?
Aye.
Have 6 ayes.
Okay. Our next order of business is to go into closed meeting, and I'm going, yes? Is she there? Good
Yes,
question.
Board, thank you for that.
Oh,
Vice Chair Biggs, for the logistics, would you be so kind to preside over the meeting for me?
Yeah, but here's another question. Does she doesn't have to say where she is or anything. She could just say, okay, we're okay then. Okay, whereas the Board of Supervisors of Montgomery County has convened a closed meeting on this date pursuant to an affirmative recorded vote and in accordance with the provisions of the Freedom of Information Act, and whereas section 2.23711 of the Code of, why is that there? That's like the certification. I just need to call into closed session, right? Yeah, that's not, yeah, it's not on here. Okay. Let me go down here, see if that's, no, I just have the certification. Sorry. So Marty, you read the other thing.
Vice Chair Biggs,
Yes.
can you all hear me?
Yes.
Okay, here we go. All right. Be it resolved by the Montgomery County Board of Supervisors of Montgomery County hereby enters into a closed meeting for the purpose of discussing the following, section 2.23711. Discussion, consideration, or interviews of prospective candidates for employment, assignment, appointment, promotion, performance, demotion, salaries, discipline, or resignation of specific officers, appointees, or employees of any public body, and that is Board of Zoning Appeals, BZA. Do I have that motion?
So moved.
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Just a second. Mr. Fidzikowski?
Aye.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Ms. Biggs?
Aye.
Mr. Motts?
Aye.
Ms. Bone?
Aye.
Mr. Shepherd?
Aye.
Chair Blevins?
Aye.
7
Okay,
ayes.
all right, we are in closed meeting.
Did not.
Okay, we're back, and we're going to come out of closed meeting at this time, so I need a motion to do so.
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, and Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Ms. Biggs?
Aye.
Mr. Motts?
Aye.
Ms. Bone?
Aye.
Mr. Shepherd?
Aye.
Fidzikowski?
Aye.
Chair Blevins?
Aye.
7 ayes.
Okay, now we get to read the part that was already in here. Okay, whereas the Board of Supervisors of Montgomery County has convened a closed meeting on this date pursuant to an affirmative recorded vote and in accordance with the provisions of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, and whereas Section 2.2-3711 of the Code of Virginia requires a certification by the board that such closed meeting was conducted in conformity with Virginia law. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Supervisors of Montgomery County, Virginia hereby certifies that to the best of each member's knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted from the open meeting requirements by Virginia law were discussed in the closed meeting to which this certification resolution applies, and only such public business matters as were identified in the motion conveying the closed meeting were heard, discussed, or considered by the board. Do I have such a motion?
So moved.
And is there a second?
Second.
Okie dokie. And Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Ms. Biggs?
Aye.
Mr. Motts?
Aye.
Ms. Bone?
Aye.
Mr. Shepherd?
Aye.
Mr. Fidzikowski?
Aye.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Chair Blevins?
Aye.
7 ayes.
All right, at this time, I'm going to ask our County Administrator, Ms. Hill, to lead us in a moment of silence and the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please stand as you're able. Let us pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Well, for our first order of business tonight, we have, under our presentations, recognitions, and awards, we have Mr. David Clark from the Virginia Department of Transportation. Welcome, David.
Thank you very much. I'll go through a couple of things we've been working on that has been somewhat decent weather, so we're hitting a lot of the maintenance items kind of around the board. A lot of it has been due to the weather, a lot of dust control complaints on the gravel roads and a lot of dead deer. So it's just we're trying to keep up with some of that stuff. And we'll have extra crews probably working next weekend after Thanksgiving because they'll really pile up after a long holiday weekend. So we're going to be having some people do some patrols around for that. But other than that, it's just machining a lot of the gravel roads. We did do some pipe replacement on Craig Mountain Road, along with some patching over top of that pipe, some shoulder and ditching work on Bradshaw. some patch paving on Brake Road, Camp Carriesbrook Road. I think I mentioned it last time, but we did complete the Rural Rustic Road project on Craig Mountain Road, and are working on the design, what will be the next project, which is Taylor Hollow Road. Brush cutting on Centennial. Started doing some grading work on Taylor Hollow because we were starting to look at how to address that curve. If you're familiar with it, there's a big hairpin curve in it, and it's going to be a difficult one. So we're already starting to kind of do some grading work and some survey work out there. More pothole patching on Indian Valley Road, Fairview Church, North Fork, and Mount Pleasant. And we had our district-wide snow strategy meeting a couple weeks ago, so we're getting ready for that. I think I told you before that we'd already gone through our dry run and gotten all of our equipment ready, so we'll be ready if that stuff comes this year. And that's it.
All right. Go on for questions. Let's start at this end. Supervisor Fidzikowski, any questions?
I certainly do have questions.
Uh-oh.
A while back, gosh, it's probably been over a year, we had a lot of conversations about Craig Mountain Road and reducing the speed limit, and it was, I can't remember who told me, but apparently Chris Price said that the speed study was being done, and somebody else told me that the counter has been taken up, so I'm assuming it's finished.
It's in process right now.
Okay.
The gentleman that was out there, I think he lives on Rosemary, actually, has come by. We talked with him on the status of that.
Okay.
But just the status of it, the results are not in yet.
Do we know, have just a rough estimate? Because I'm sure I'll be.
Once they have the data, which is what they've seemed to have, it shouldn't take long for I would guess. I mean, this is kind of a difficult time of year to predict that kind of thing, but I would think by January.
I remember the first round of conversations that we started like a year ago or so, that VDOT had come up with several solutions that I thought were going to take care of the issue, but then there was like a really bad accident where they had to call in a helicopter and everything. Does that factor in? Because it's not a road that has a lot of crashes on it.
Right. No, they'll look at they'll take into account the crashes. I think that one should be on the in the data.
Okay. All right. And I recently had a citizen has inquired about the railroad. I guess we call it an underpass on Den Hill Road. Mm-hmm. It seems like years ago there was talk about working with the railroad to make some improvements on that. And do you know of any plans to work on that?
No, that's similar to the one on Lester's Gate Road. It's or any crossing, whether it be a tunnel or a grade crossing. Those are maintained by the railroad.
And the citizen, when he inquired, I thought I could remember that several years ago, and I know you all don't like putting those convex mirrors up, but I thought there was one for that particular location.
If it was up, it was a private citizen that put it up.
Okay. So there never was.
We don't go
one.
around collecting them unless somebody complains about it, or if we notice it. Kind of a dangerous location, but it's not an approved traffic device, so we do not put those up.
Yeah, because if there was one there, that would give people coming down into that choke point an idea there was somebody coming through it.
Yeah.
But I remember you saying that VDOT wasn't really big on those.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's all I got.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay. Supervisor King.
Yeah, just got a few things. Have we talked about the traffic study on Route 8 in Union Valley?
Yeah, I still don't have. I've asked them about that. I still don't have anything about that. I'll keep prodding them for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's still in the works.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. And right on Tyler and Stanley Road, where Tyler goes off on Stanley, there's a big pothole right there, and it holds water.
Okay.
It's a pretty good sized pothole. And Paul School Road, I've talked to several people that lives out on there. Is there any way y'all could go out there and clean some ditches out? Because every time it rains, it's washing people's driveways out.
Okay. We will be doing a lot of ditching and stuff like that this winter, so I'll make sure that's on the list.
All right, I appreciate it. All right, that's all I had.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Supervisor DeMotts.
I don't have any questions. Thanks for being here. I hope you have a good Thanksgiving next week.
Thanks, you too.
Supervisor Bone.
What's your timing for the Mill Point drainage stuff?
That should have been done already. We'll try to get that in the next couple of months.
Is there anything holding it up?
No, it's just
You've got
a
other
lot of
things to
work.
do.
Yeah,
I
just a
get
lot
it.
of work orders and stuff like that. No, there's nothing in particular.
I know that I got an email as far as a price for the drainage ditch
Yes.
at the end of the driveways. Could you explain that to my fellow supervisors, what we're actually trying to accomplish with that? And then I'll talk to them about the
Okay.
cost and
Yeah.
proposal and stuff.
This happens several areas. We've got a developed subdivision, and generally what happens is that after a subdivision has been established, maybe other houses come in. So you've got these roads that may go along like a ridge, but part of it cuts. So you've got some lots that are above the road, some lots below the road. When a new driveway goes in, then there's more drainage, more runoff from driveways that come down their driveway. We try to get them to do their driveways such that it sheds off, but a lot of it will just come down and then it crosses the road and goes into another person's property. It's off-site drainage. VDOT can handle drainage if it's within our road, our drainage, but it's tough to do anything about stuff that comes off of other private lots, runoff from another lot, whether it be from their driveway, from their house into a gutter that then goes off somewhere. You just get, developed property just tends to have more runoff, especially with the driveways on there. So we were looking at some kind of a solution, but VDOT doesn't do really higher dollar entrance pipes. In fact, when someone has a pipe, they buy the pipe. Sometimes we'll put it in, but entrance pipes are the responsibility of the property owners. What we were looking at is a solution, or at least to make it a little bit better, whereby if you have one of those, an entrance pipe with slots at the top, water would come down, it would go into the pipe from the top because there's a slot on there and then run off. But there's a cost to that, and it's not something that VDOT would be able to do. So we're looking at other ways to do that.
But whatever that cost is, because I was looking for the email and I can't remember, it's not as much as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah,
But VDOT would install it for free?
we'd still install it. Yeah, we could do that.
That's nice. So I'll come back to the board once I find that email.
And I can find it again too. I'll look.
Yeah, that'd be
I'll look
great.
myself.
But Ms. Bree is here, and I think it's a good thing to put into our code.
That would, yeah. That's all, I don't know if you're,
So if you can start working on that, that would be great. So you're doing potholes now, or?
well, we'll be doing as long as
Okay.
even if in colder weather, we have a cold patch that will get us through the winter, but as long as the weather cooperates and the plants are open, we'll continue to, yeah.
So at the end of Woodland Hills by Lester's Gate, the road is like breaking up, and so there's a chunk of it that's come loose. So there's a little bit of a pothole there, but it looks like it needs, a swath to secure everything else too. And then lastly, of which I think this is county related, the children at play signs, I know you guys were looking at, or whatever signs equivalent, top of Nellie's Cave and at the cheese factory. And last time I asked anybody about it, had to do with a certain speed limit. And I think Nellie's Cave fell into that. I'm not sure if the cheese factory fell into that. And then it's just a matter of getting the signs up. Do you have any idea, Angie or Vicky?
We can get you the policy on that. VDOT allows them, counties, to put up watch for children signs under certain circumstances. And
Yeah, we'll find out.
Yeah, we just permit
Let
it.
you know.
I appreciate it.
We've
Thank
put
you.
them up before, or helped the county install them before.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Okay, Supervisor Shepherd.
A couple things. I've had a couple complaints about the Glade Road where they put the last couple culverts in. They didn't repave them,
On which one?
Glade.
On Glade?
That one, they had the road closed for a couple days.
Yes, we had to close Glade. That was not, yeah.
But it's getting some bad potholes in that where they've just got the gravel.
Yeah.
Next thing is there a plan or any time frame of when the lines will be painted back on Mount Zion and Long Shop?
No, I'll have to check on that.
Because I can tell you, in early mornings when it's foggy and it's dark, it's like driving off the end of the world.
Yeah.
There's nothing to go by. And then last but not least, we talked about Sterling and getting it resurfaced. We didn't talk about a time frame. I didn't know how long that
Yeah,
would
well,
take.
that'll be budget related. We'll have to see in the spring probably.
Okay,
Look at that.
that's what I figured.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have.
Okay, and Sheriff Blevins?
Mr. Clark, no questions, but as always, thank you for your service.
Thank you.
And my only comment would be, I was listening to the news and they said that we might have a wet winter. Is that what you all were
That's the things we're
strategizing?
hearing too, yeah. And of course, all the models are showing that, and then it's just a variable of how that cold air dips down, whether that ends up being snow or rain. So, yeah, but that's what we're hearing too.
Well, we appreciate you being here and being prepared. Anyone else have a question? Yes, okay.
I got one more. Has the Snow Fighters manual been updated?
It should, well, yeah, I think it has.
You don't know
actually,
what we're
yeah.
talking about, but there is a thing
But we want to know.
in VDOT that's like that.
We've done that. And actually, we had recently had meetings with all the local emergency management people for all that kind of stuff. Anything goes on 81 in Pulaski and Montgomery County on how to respond if there is a problem in the interstate that keeps people there for a long time.
Well, the media has got all our attention talking about snow this year since we didn't get any last year to
Yeah.
speak of. So, good luck.
Yeah, we'll try. We'll try. We will be ready. That's for sure, because we've been talking about it for 2 months now.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thanks very much.
Thank you. Okay. All right, next item of business is we have special use permit for a contractor storage yard, Harvey Morris and Susan Cochran, and Bree's going to fill us in.
Good evening. So as stated, we have a special use permit request to allow a contractor storage yard off of Rustic Trail. Here's your vicinity map. This is in the western portion of the county. You can see as zoomed in here. This line is Pepper's Ferry Road. This is Walton Road, and this is Vicker Switch. So it's kind of right in the middle of those. Here's an aerial photo. The red line indicates Rustic Trail. It is a private road. It is not state maintained. The lot is here in yellow. You can see it's heavily wooded with the exception of this area right in here, and that is the area they would be using for the contractor yard. Here is your zoning map. It's zoned agriculture A1, as is most of the surrounding property. So it does consist of 37 acres of undeveloped land. The Kanawha Stone Company is interested in using that for a contractor storage yard that would entail about 5 acres of that. The shareholders of the Stone Company currently own most of the property that is accessed to the east of Rustic Trail. And there is only one residential dwelling on that road. It is also owned by the shareholders of Kanawha Stone Company. So the contractor storage yard will house storage containers, enclosed trailers, equipment, and construction materials used by their company. There will be minimal grading, and no structures are proposed at this time. Employees will be transient in nature, so no one will be staying there on site all the time. They will just be coming and going as they need materials. Here is the concept plan. The blue here indicates the areas that they have proposed for stormwater. This area, and it's really hard to see here, but it's hatched. That is the area they've designated for the contractor storage yard. Here are some pictures. This is the intersection of Rustic Trail and Pepper's Ferry, looking west towards Radford and east towards Christiansburg. And then this is looking up Rustic Trail from Pepper's Ferry. And then this is looking from Rustic Trail onto the property. This is where they would access their site. And then here is a picture of the property. You can see it is heavily wooded around the area that's open. And then this is the existing vegetative buffer along the western property line. So it would likely need to be supplemented to provide that full buffer. So we're proposing fewer than 10 trips per week. That is estimated to and from the site. VDOT took no exception to approval of the SUP. The entrance of Rustic Trail is at the intersection of Pepper's Ferry Road, as we stated, and Rustic Trail is going to be upgraded to an all-weather surface. That will help contain the dust. The proposed development will have no water or sewer needs, as there will be no one on site, just the storage and materials. There is a small portion of the larger property, 37 acres, that lies within a flood hazard area. However, none of the contractor's yard will be located within that area. The existing natural buffer will be maintained and will supplement it as required by zoning ordinance. And then, of course, we will require compliance with all erosion and sediment control and stormwater measures during site plan review. No significant increase in noise is expected. Any noise will be generated during the construction of the site while they do the grading, and then, of course, bringing the material in and out. There is no exterior lighting or fencing proposed at this time. If at a later time they want to install fencing, it will have to meet county code requirements. Storage containers and box trailers will be required to be screened from view. It is designated in an area of rural in the comprehensive plan. Properties up here that are colored, that is actually the Bellevue Village area. So it is close to that. There is a property that separates it. So the comprehensive plan defines these areas as areas of the county not generally served by public utilities. It does speak to certain special exceptions can be allowed if they are compatible with the scale and intensity of the agricultural area. The proposed use would be compatible with the adjoining properties, mostly undeveloped lots, and then it's also bordered by the Norfolk Railroad. So the proposed use will generate limited impacts on the surrounding properties. It would not generate any significant noise or traffic to the area. And then the property owners along the trail, Rustic Trail, are shareholders of the company. So that actually reduces further potential traffic or noise concerns from area citizens. The Planning Commission held their public hearing on October 11th. We did not have any speakers during that hearing, and they recommended approval of the special use permit with conditions on a 6-0 vote. We did have 3 members absent that evening. So the Planning Commission recommended approval with the following conditions. The site shall be developed in general conformance with the submitted concept sketch. A basic site plan addressing zoning conformance with landscaping, screening, parking, signage, and other requirements shall be approved prior to issuance of any county permits. The special use permit must be amended if the owner wishes to construct any structures. It shall not be open to the public, and it shall not create any exterior impacts, including noise, vibration, glare, odor, or electrical interference. There shall be no trash, litter, debris, junk, or construction waste stored on site. Hours of operation would be limited to 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday with no exterior lighting. Equipment and vehicles stored on the property shall be in good working condition at all times. A natural buffer shall be maintained consisting of evergreen vegetation or opaque fencing if desired. Rustic trails shall be maintained and passable at all times, and measures to prevent dust shall be put in place. We did notify adjoining property owners. We also placed a public hearing sign at the property. Legal ads were run in the News Messenger. We did receive one piece of correspondence in the mail, and that should have been included in your packet. There may be others here to speak. I know the owner and the applicant are here as well if you have any questions.
And with that, I will take any questions you have for staff.
Okay. Well, let's start, excuse me, let's start down here. Todd, do you have any questions? Supervisor King? No. Okay. And how about Supervisor DeMott?
I don't have any questions. Thank you.
Okay. And Supervisor Bone?
I don't have any questions, thank you.
Okay. Supervisor Shepherd?
No questions.
No questions. And Supervisor Kuchakowski?
No questions.
Chair Blevins?
No questions. Thank you.
And I don't either. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So we did not have anyone sign up to speak at this public hearing, but if there are folks out there that want to speak, you'll have 4 minutes. Is there anyone that would care to speak on this public hearing? Okay. Seeing no one, we'll close the public hearing, and we'll move to our next order of business, which is public address. And we do have guidelines for public address, and there was a sign-up sheet outside, and we do have individuals that have signed up, but if anyone would like to address us after that, that is also okay. Each speaker has 4 minutes, whether speaking as an individual or a representative. All comments must be addressed to the chair and other supervisors from the speaker's lectern at the front of the room. Please begin by stating your name and address. Debate between speakers and members of the audience will not be allowed, and speakers may leave any written statements and or comments to the supervisors with the board clerk. Speakers will be judged out of order should the speaker engage in personal attacks, use profanity or abusive language, or debate with the audience and not address the supervisors. When you see the yellow light go off up there, that means you have 1 minute left of your 4 minutes. So at this time, we'll call up our first individual that signed up, and that is Mr. Bruce Board. I believe you want to address us on the Auburn Park.
I'm Bruce Board, and I own the property beside the proposed Auburn Park. I want to make a couple of things clear about the fields at Auburn Park. When you build the full-size field, you're not taking away a field from the other teams. The field could be used for all ages from T-ball to 12-year-olds, along with girls softball. I have been involved with the Kiwanis Park in Christiansburg for well over 50 years, and it's been used for all ages from T-ball to high school. I do not believe the changing to a full-size field would cause any significant delay to the parks, since it was decided already that you would wait till the end of the year or the first of next year to send out the bids. The field could benefit the community in other ways. If you talk with the sheriff, police chief, school counselors, they will tell you that it's important to keep 13 to 15-year-olds and 15 to 18-year-old boys involved in organized activities. Sports build character and help keep them out of trouble. I was pleased to hear Ms. Miller say that they had 11 fall baseball softball teams this year. What she did not mention is 2 of these teams were 12U baseball, boys baseball. That means they will not have a field to play on or practice on next year. It really bothers me when I hear people say that they do not care about the schools and their needs. There's currently 1 field at Auburn High School that must support the varsity and JV teams. They did not have a middle school team this year because they did not have a field to play or practice on. I would think the recreation department would be glad, even excited, about having a field that might benefit and help the schools. This fall, the recreation department used the school field for football games. When basketball begins, the recreation department will be playing and practicing in school gyms. With all the help and assistance the schools provide for the recreation department, one would think they would be happy to help the schools out. I do not say this as a threat or thought that the schools would not continue to help the recreation department. The administration and officials at the schools are too professional and care too much about the youth in the community to do anything to hurt the recreation program. I would just like to see the recreation department and commission show the same level of support to the schools. I first came to you in May and spoke, and then came again in June. I also went to the Recreation Commission in August. The Recreation Commission did not discuss the field in May, June, July, August, or September. If this was such an important matter, why did they wait 6 months to bring it up? They first discussed it in October after the September Board of Supervisors meeting, when I, along with many others, heard the Board of Supervisors had approved the full-size field. I'm still not sure what happened there. I actually talked with a middle school baseball coach for Christiansburg today, and he said it really would be great if Auburn had a middle school team because that would give them a home and away series they could play, and they wouldn't have to take county buses and travel all the way to Covington to be able to play, which is a long trip for the kids on school nights. I have left information. It's got my name and my phone number. If you all have any questions, you're welcome to contact me. And if there's anything that I said that I need to validate for you, I can give you the records or prove it to you. Oh, and I did pull out from 2018 the concepts for the 3 fields. And they showed the fields, but nowhere on those concept drawings that they gave us did it say anything about the size of the fields. So in 2018, when they did that, I got the drawings, but they don't tell you the size of the fields. So that people would know it, they didn't know it. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. And our next citizen that has signed up is Patricia Colatosti. I got that right. I hope I didn't mess that up too badly.
Fine. Totally fine. I'm Patricia Colatosti. I live at 1580 Taylor Hollow Road, and I would like to speak to you about the improvements in Taylor Hollow Road. First, I really want to say thank you for directing the funds towards improving the low water crossing. You have made an incredible, positive, life-altering change to every single family in Taylor Hollow. I no longer panic when it rains. And I can tell you from talking to my neighbors that it has just been absolutely incredible to have that done. Just wonderful. Thank you. And VDOT's contractors worked through some of the worst weather I've ever seen, standing in waders up to their waist in water doing this. Second, our VDOT representative had talked about that hairpin curve, and that was the other thing that I came to talk about. They were looking at paving it, and it's not just a hairpin curve. It's a downhill hairpin and then 3 car lengths to a 1-lane bridge. We have to make a 90-degree turn. We need guardrails to go along with that, and we actually need a guardrail now. Right now, as you come over the curve and over the hill, you're pointing at the Roanoke River. Right now it's gravel, you got some traction. When it's paved and icy, if you slide, you're going in the river. And then you have to make a turn, a 120-degree turn, and then you have about 3 car lengths before you have to make a 90-degree turn onto a 1-lane bridge. That 3 car lengths, you're pointing at the Roanoke River. There is a bridge abutment that they fixed, which is great, but there's no guard to keep you from going over it. You're facing that abutment as you're driving on this. If you're sliding in the winter and it's all paved, you're going over that abutment and 15 feet down into the Roanoke River. That approach where it's flat is currently paved. They paved it when they put the new concrete deck bridge in, and it is slick. It's a spot that doesn't get the sun in the winter, and it is really, really slick. I did hear the VDOT representative say that they were doing some surveying. Hopefully they can fix the turn, but we do need some type of guardrails or safety features at that point. If they're really set on paving, we've got 2 really nice flattish straightaways that could be paved and work on the curve later. But that's what I came here to talk about and to really thank you for the low water crossing improvement. It has been just totally wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have anyone else in the audience that would like to come up at this time for public address? Okay, seeing no one, we'll go ahead and close public address. And I don't believe we have any addendums, is that
No, ma'am.
correct?
We have no
Okay.
addendum.
So we're ready to go into work session. We have 2 items to discuss in work session, the Reiner Park baseball fields and the memorandum of agreement, county volunteer emergency services and fire agencies. So do I have a motion to go into work session?
Motion.
Is there a second? Okay, second from Supervisor Shepherd. All right, and Madam Clerk, may you call the roll?
Mr. Motts?
Aye.
Ms. Bone?
Aye.
Mr. Shepherd?
Aye.
Mr. Jakowski?
Aye.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Ms. Biggs?
Aye.
Chair Blevins?
Aye.
7 ayes.
All right, we are now in work session. Ms. Hill.
Thank you, Vice Chair Biggs. Scott Woodrum is with us tonight. He's the Director of General Services, and he's going to share an update on the Auburn fields.
Good evening. All right, so we wanted to bring this project back to you, give you an update on where we are. We've had, just to recap a little bit of the highlights of the park. We have four baseball fields, 2 multi-purpose fields, all with field lighting, walking trails, several picnic shelters, playgrounds, and bathroom facilities. Also included in the project is roadway improvements on Roanoke Road, which includes turn lanes. So our architect engineer has submitted site plans for the 3rd review that was received by the county last week. We also have an engineer working on the submittal to VDOT for the locally administered project funding review. We anticipate construction advertisement in December or January, and anticipate the length of construction for the project to be about 6 months. We have given our architect and engineering firm direction to issue the project, advertise the project with a base bid for all the fields being the same size, and an alternate bid item for a larger field. Currently, the project estimate, total project cost is $8.2 million. That includes the A&E fees, permit fees, and the full build out of the park. We received an estimate this past week for enlarging this field number 3, which would use material on site and would not require the import of material from off-site. So that helps with the cost in the ballpark of $350,000. This field 3 was chosen to be the field to investigate the ability to make it larger, and the first two fields, we'll back up just a little bit. The first 2 fields here, adjacent to the parking and the fire station, very difficult to enlarge these fields without impacting the adjacent uses. And so field 4 up in the upper right corner, the stormwater basin would be impacted, as well as the service access to that basin. So we settled on this field number 3, and this drawing right here gives you an idea of what the 300-foot limit and the center field distance of 350 would look like.
And as Scott said, we have elected for the bid to be prepared with an alternative. The base bid would be for 3 smaller fields, and then there would be an alternative that could be added into the bid that would cover this design for a larger field, the design and construction of a larger field on this site.
Okay,
Do you have any questions?
all right. Why don't we start down here, since this is in your area. Would you like to start, Supervisor King?
Did you say if we made the field larger, it's $350,000
Yeah, that's an engineer's estimate we received this past week. Yes, sir.
on top of what's already allocated?
Right, of what I already mentioned earlier.
You get a shovel?
I can get a shovel that'll fit my hand. Yes, sir.
That's just a rough estimate too. We won't know
Yeah.
exactly how much that costs until the actual bids come in. So I would like to just remind you of that.
That's a
Just
high
rough
estimate.
cut.
Couple things that are included in there is not only the earthwork, it's about a third to a half of that cost, but also the lights. There's some increased cost to the lights because the field's larger, and there would be either additional poles or additional fixtures on those poles.
Okay. But that's a high estimate, right? You hope?
Yeah, we do. Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. That's all I got.
Okay, and Supervisor DeMotts, I know you've been working with Parks and Rec.
Does this, so the graphic that's up in front of us right now, where it says pond number 3 and you've got the black outlines around, are those topo lines through pond number 3?
Yes, ma'am. These are existing contour lines today, the dash lines, and then the proposed, and this would change with once making the field larger, this multi-use trail would actually come up to the right side of this field and tie in up here. So that the trail location would no longer be beyond the outfield if the field was extended.
Can you back up yeah, perfect. So the stormwater management pond that's at the base of the altitude or the height of the property, how are we going to relocate that?
Okay, so what will happen is they will grade into this slope right here, pull this material down and extend the field here.
Is that the top black lines here underneath that 2086? Is that supposed to be the walking trail? Where's the walking trail above pond 3?
Okay, so it comes, these graded lines here, these contours are graded for the multi-use trail here. It's coming downhill, coming to the embankment of the pond, crossing, and then it climbs grade here and is climbing, continues to climb up to the next, where the access goes off to field 4.
Where would the new walking trail be?
That is not 100% been determined at this time, but it would likely climb this grade right here and run mostly flat along these contours, run parallel to these contours here. But it would have to get up this
20
grade.
feet.
Yeah. There would likely be some
Totally
switchback.
inaccessible for wheelchairs and stuff like that.
And we have discussed the design standards for multi-use trails with the consultant. They're aware of what would need to be.
Okay.
Yeah.
So so we would move the stormwater management pond back, is what you're saying?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, it would take the bottom of the pond from here and kind of shift it up and to the left.
Okay. So the grading, how much did we spend on the grading for this park?
It was 1.6 million.
Okay. So we'll have to redo the grading in this section if we decide to move forward with a bigger field.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I think that's all the questions I have right now.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, Supervisor Byrne?
Is it 315 or 350 additional cost?
350.
Thank you. Yeah. Are there fencing in the outer field?
Yes, ma'am.
So it would be at the 300, 350, 300. There
Yes.
wouldn't be any opportunity for fencing for the 300 line. How do they do that?
If you wanted to make the field smaller, you could have a mobile fence like you'd see
is
at
that what
Park
they do?
Raider or other fields. You would just, if you wanted to make it for the
I gotcha.
Little League.
I
Right.
think the reason the green line with the 300 feet is shown on the drawing is just for a matter of reference.
Right. It was something that we had discussed with the consultant as far as, if
But the softball field. It's 200. Okay, it's even less than the 300, I got you. So the contour lines are kind of confusing around this field. Is it sunken or above?
So that's a great question. So the field sets slightly, I want to go, if you don't mind, I want to go back to that
Yeah.
view right there. So the road here is up a little, the field is down a little, and then the pond is obviously further down. Does that help you?
Yeah. I think that's all the questions I have. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, Supervisor Shepherd?
I believe they caught all my questions.
Okay. All right, and Supervisor Fidzikowski?
appreciate this information. I didn't realize that it's just the center field that gets extended out. I didn't know that. I thought the whole thing went out.
It is the whole thing. The field size, I believe, is 225 or 250, the way it's graded.
Oh, okay.
And so we looked at the option of just keeping it concentric there, 300 feet along on the fence line and on the center line, but the VHSL field size is 300, 350, 300. So if we can get that, that's what we're working to get. That's kind of our goal.
Okay.
And so that can be done with material on site.
Okay. And I know it's been asked 3 times, but I guess I'm getting hard of hearing. 350,000 is an increase above and beyond if that was a softball field.
No. If this field was extended to the 300, 350, 300, that 350 is the additional cost.
What would a softball field cost?
I think the answer is yes. It's the additional cost from the smaller field to the larger VHSL regulation size field is estimated to be $350,000. We do think that the appropriation that we have for the park, because some other things didn't cost quite as much as we thought they would, we think that the appropriation is enough to cover the $350,000 cost. Is that correct?
Yes, because of the lighting.
Right.
I believe, yes,
Right.
we've talked about that. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. So it appears to me that it's a doable thing. So that's all I got. Thank you.
All right.
Okay. Chair Blevins?
Scott, you said earthworks, and because we have the material already on site, that's why the cost is $350,000. But if we wait and decide to do it later, it would be significantly higher than $350,000.
Well, if we did it later, there would be multiple things that would be involved in enlarging the field. You'd have to relocate fence. You'd have to relocate the lighting poles and fixtures that are on the outfield. So enlarging a field later, for any reason, would be more expensive.
Okay, and it sounds like we do have, Ms. Hill, appropriations. We do have money to cover that.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, thank you, Scott. That's all.
You're welcome.
I will have a caveat with that. That assumes that the bids come in at what the estimates have been. As we know, things are costing more than they did in the past, but we do think that there is enough appropriation to cover the current cost estimates. If we issue the bid as we described, we could decide when the bids come in which size field to move forward with at that time.
Okay. Does this bring any other questions? Yes, Supervisor DeMotts.
Just a follow-up question about the fields. So the VHSL fields have to be the 300, 350, 300. What is the standard, like who's controlling the standards at the 300 across?
It was just a point of discussion.
Who amongst who?
We talked to Mitch. We had a discussion 3 weeks ago. The thought process was that the VHSL, it's the standard for high school baseball. So
I thought we were talking about 13 to 15-year-olds because the high school has a field.
Part of the reason that we looked at the VHSL regulation size is because when people had come forward and spoken to the board, they discussed regulation size field, full size regulation size field. So we looked at what the regulations say. Those are the regulations that it's the set of standards that people would adhere to. That's why we chose the 350-foot distance. And as Scott said, that 300-foot was just for a point of discussion.
Follow-up question on the VHSL regulations. Do they require a permanent pitching mound?
yes, ma'am.
You're not the person to ask this, but can a field with a permanent pitching mound then become a field for T-ball?
It would not, and we would not propose that we would have a permanent mound. We would make the field size be regulation, but it would still not have a permanent mound. That's not what we would propose because that couldn't be moved.
That would limit its flexibility to be used by
Right.
various baseball,
So we're going to
softball.
build it to VHSL size, but we're not going to build it to their standard. So then who can use it?
Everybody but the high school. Yeah, so everybody but the high school could use it.
So it would be okay for middle school ball.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Since it's middle school, we did check that, and since it is middle school, it doesn't have to follow the high school league regulations.
Okay.
We thought that if we made sure that the size of the field was appropriate, if the high schoolers wanted to practice on the field, even if the mound wasn't permanent, they could do that. But it probably would not work for a VHSL-approved game.
Are there
Because
such,
it won't have a permanent mound.
Right.
are there
Because
such
if it wasn't-
things as temporary mounds?
Yes, there are temporary
Yeah, they're
mounds, and that's what we
movable.
would propose so that it could be used as a smaller field as well.
So as part of looking at various fields, we looked at the field at the elementary school at Auburn, and here to the right, you have the full-size baseball field for the high school, and then you have we'll call it a recreational area for the elementary school. We have a small kickball field and soccer goals, and a little league field that's used by Parks and Rec. And so, as part of that, research looking into that, we looked at some field sizes and are placing a high school field on this area. And so we oriented it two ways. One, having on the right here home plate in the existing location, but you would see that even with the 300-foot line, the impact to the playground, and also the way this area is sloped, this small field sets lower than the playground and this other area here. So there would be the grading to get it in there would be a bit tricky. And then orienting it with home plate in the opposite corner, you'd still be looking at some grading challenges, and it would basically eliminate a lot of the area that's used by the elementary school students.
It's our understanding that the area in the bottom center of the field is used for recess kickball, soccer, and that I guess kickball's over to the side as well, but soccer and those types of activities during recreation recess time for the elementary school students. And as Scott said, if we put a field there, a baseball field, there would be a fence that would completely impede that, and it would not be accessible for the students during recess. We looked at this. The schools did not look at it. We got our A&E firm to look at that. We did share this with Dr. Bragan, and he felt like after he saw this that it probably wouldn't be the best use for the field because it would take away so much from the elementary school students.
Did he have any ideas about other locations for the middle school field?
We didn't discuss that.
How would the kids get from the middle school to the Auburn Park? Is there a connection that I'm not aware of that's not down Route 8?
There's connecting it by bus.
Okay.
Any other questions for Scott? Okay. Do we want to proceed like in discussion, or?
I think that if we could get some kind of feedback from the board about the direction that we intend to go as far as issuing the bid with the two different choices.
I think that helps us make a decision. We'll have the bid with both different choices and the actual cost, not a guess of what the cost could be.
Is it going to delay it at all?
No.
Construction?
No, it won't have any delay because we'll issue the bid the bid will still be issued at the same time we would typically issue it, and then the construction would not be impacted about when the completion would occur. Is that correct?
I would say that moving the earthwork could add some time.
Yeah.
But if they get on finishing the other 3 fields and the multi-purpose fields, they make that a priority, that's what we would want, so that those fields could be used at the earliest possible time. The earthwork for this could be done while those 5 are getting prepped for permanent seed. And
I think that that's a good idea and maybe hard to execute in reality. Just locally working in construction, you're going to have labor problems. I mean, I do think the earthwork will delay it. I don't know that it would delay it significantly. It might delay it by a month. But I do think that it is going to delay it. I don't want to come back in a few months and why is it delayed by a month?
And there
I
are
feel like
so
the
many
earthwork will
factors
delay
that
it.
could delay
Yeah.
it, because this is the perfect scenario. If we went to bid when we plan to go to bid, if we get the bids back and the construction contractors can mobilize when we want them to be able to mobilize, if the summer's dry, which we've already heard about wet winter, I don't know about the summer forecast, but if it rains all summer, that will delay the project as well. So there are a lot of factors, that's right, about the completion date.
But if it was ideal weather, and everything lined up, is there anything to prevent, the other 3 fields from being used while construction is finishing on that last 4th field?
If logistically, like Supervisor DeMott spoke about, if logistically that could be achieved, it's conceivable, but
Yeah.
it would be up to the contractor to
Yeah.
make sure that all.
Okay.
And are you asking whether the other 3 fields could be used or
Yeah.
being constructed?
Used.
I don't think that we could use the 3 fields while earthwork is going on at the other corner, because would we have the road infrastructure in yet?
that would depend on, I don't know that. I would have to look at the phasing and get back to you on that.
But I guess my thought is that if those other fields could be complete first and get the grass started so that it could grow longer, that maybe by the time the grass was ready on those fields, the earthwork and other things would be done at the larger field.
But the bids will come back with that
Yes.
timing information and everything like that,
Right.
and sequence of roads and things. Gotcha.
Well, I'm not against a bigger field, I'm really not, but guesstimated $350,000, and as all of us sitting here knows, we're accountable to taxpayers. And I think, as you said, we move forward with the other fields and send the bids out both ways and come back to us and let us know exactly how much it is. And I understand you said we may have
That's right.
already in the budget.
Right.
But I'd hate to say, well, let's go ahead and move forward with this, and then it comes back to us and it's $500,000-$600,000 more.
I would hate for that to happen too. That would not be a good thing for any of us.
Like I said, I'm not against it, but we got to be prepared.
Right.
I think the way that you've suggested doing it, collecting both bids and getting actual costs, is the proper way to handle it. Because then we can make a decision, or at least have the information that we need to be able to make a decision. And I think this board could probably make the decision fairly quickly, because at that point we have all the information.
If it comes back, it may be $200,000, and we already got it in the budget. That's not going to be a hard decision at all.
Right.
But if it comes back in $600,000-$700,000, now we're going to have to talk.
So what I'm hearing from Supervisor Demotz and King that they would like to go forward to looking at both as bids. How do the rest of you feel,
Absolutely.
Supervisor Shepherd and Bone and Fizikowski? Chair Blevins, are you okay with that?
I'm okay if we want to go with the options of 2 bids, but I fully support and believe that we've heard from the Liner citizens. I've had several emails. Again, I thought we had was consensus to move forward with the larger field. I feel that it will cost more if we wait and then down the road say, wish we should have went ahead with that larger field, and then it costs more money. I would like to see us to go ahead with the bid for the larger field. However, if the consensus of the board is to get the two options and then to come back to reconsider to know exactly the cost. But I would, I think I would, unless it was astronomical, I would still want to support the larger field.
Okay, but you're okay with us going forward like we've talked about here tonight?
Yes, because we would have to bid it out anyway and then make a decision. Is that correct, Ms. Hill?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. So
And that's not going to cause any other, it wouldn't cause any additional delay with both options.
Receiving the bids won't
that correct?
cause an additional delay. That's correct.
Okay, so that gives staff a direction to go.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Scott, for the additional
You're
information,
welcome.
too.
Thank you all.
All right. Okay, then our next topic is our memorandum of understanding that we're talking about with our EMS services. So Angie, do you want to, I know you sent the information out.
Yes.
So we could read it ahead of time.
I did
Want to
send
go
that
ahead and lead us in that?
Yes, we don't have a presentation for you, a formal presentation, but I just wanted to go over a few items with you. We last met with the Fire and Rescue Commission at a work session last Wednesday, November the 8th, to review the memorandum of agreement with the members of the Fire and Rescue Commission, and several changes were agreed to. They're not huge changes, but they were important changes to make sure that everybody agreed and understood what some of the more fine clarifications were in those documents. As you know, originally we had proposed two different drafts to you. One draft was slightly different from the other because one discussed fire and the other EMS. The commission members requested that we combine those into one document, so Marty did that for us, and we just refer to an agency in the document. As we said, the board's received the changes. We can review them if you have any questions about them tonight, but I wanted to first go over the next steps with you. The Fire and Rescue Commission will meet again on December the 7th at a regular meeting, and it's my understanding that they may vote on the MOA at that time, and then the Board of Supervisors could potentially vote on this agreement on December the 11th. We do need to review these documents with the towns. The documents are drafted more for the agencies that are not in the two towns. Those agencies in the towns are already doing a lot of the things that are included in the agreements and for the towns, so we could work on that with those folks. One example is the funds that we provide to the Christiansburg agencies go directly to the town and are deposited with the towns. So there's no need to request an additional audit of those funds. They're already being included in the town's audit. So at this time, if you have any questions or if you would like to discuss any of the changes that we went over, we can do that for you.
Okay, let's start over here. Supervisor Bone, do you have any questions or about the changes or anything?
I don't.
Okay. Supervisor DeMont?
I do have one change just because I can't figure it out in my own head. On the MOA in section 1A rosters, the county agrees to forward the annual roster and any updated rosters to the county treasurer's office.
They get a decal discount, and when we were talking about this, it's confusing to them, and I completely understand this. They have to they provide the roster to the clerk of circuit court that is related to the Line of Duty Act benefit, and they also have to submit them to the treasurer's office so they can get a decal discount. Well, so they're already submitting those twice to county affiliated agencies, but we don't have the official roster in our office. So as we were working through this, I don't know how, it was a compromise agreement. I don't know who brought it up, if it was an agency volunteer or if staff brought it up, but it was discussed that it would be easier for them if they just provide that to the EMS department, and then we can distribute it to the other county agencies.
I like that. Yeah, I couldn't, I knew there had to be some reason that the treasurer's office would need the roster, but I couldn't really think of why. I really like that we've slowed down the process to involve everybody, and I know Supervisor King will certainly have stuff to say about this. But I think rule number one of change management is to get everybody on board with the change and to do it together. And so I like that we've slowed down and are now working collaboratively. And I think we'll come out with a better agreement that has more of a chance of retaining volunteers. So thank you all. I know a lot of the people up here have put a lot of work into this, so thank you all.
Supervisor Shepherd, did you have anything?
I don't have any questions.
Okay. Supervisor Fidzikowski?
Yeah, I was at the meeting when we went through this, and we went line by line so that we didn't miss anything. I thought that was good. And, you know, the original draft, there was a lot of issues in it that I know I didn't realize was causing them to do extra work. And that was never our intention of causing that. So that was a good example that you brought up, Supervisor DeMotts. By doing the notification, having them send us the roster, and then we'll distribute it, that saves them a whole lot of follow-up where we can take care of it. So, and I think it's our intention that at any time that we can help them avoid, you know, duplication or just extra work, we want to take that burden from them if they want us to. So I thought we went through it, like I said, line by line, and actually got out of there before midnight. It wasn't that long.
That's good. Okay. Supervisor King?
Well, I think Supervisor DeMotts for saying it slowed down, but I think it needs to slow down a little bit more. We've been talking about this for a few times. Now we're talking about the two towns. We hadn't even discussed it with them. So now if this goes through, we got to discuss it with the towns. The towns may not even like it, so we got to go back and change it again. Got to bring it back up. I would like to know what the hurry is to push this through.
Okay, so, and would a discussion with the towns occur before I would think we would ever vote on it, right?
That's correct, and I don't think that we would have one document that would meet the needs of the towns and the agencies that are not in the town. I think that we'll let Marty chime in here if he has something to add, but I think that the documents that we've been working on are for the agencies more that are not in the towns.
Yes.
I think it fits them, but as you said, we need to have a discussion with the towns.
I mean, why don't we do this right and do it one time? What we're discussing now is for Long Shot Fire and Rescue, Alliston Fire, Reiner Rescue, and Reiner Fire. Why don't we slow down, figure out what we're going to do, take it to the towns, and do this once?
Okay. Chair Blevins?
Yes, well, first of all, Supervisor Fidzikowski, thank you for your work on it and for all the volunteers and agencies and career staff that have worked many hours and, well, for all year basically, to get to this point to where we're at. So I do appreciate everyone's contributions to this. And I do understand that a lot of these things already, and my understanding is a lot of things already in this MOA, both towns are already doing that. Is that correct, Ms. Hill?
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
Okay, so there might not, I don't have a problem with, obviously we do have to discuss this with the towns, but it seems like the majority of these things, they are already have protocol procedure that they're doing for the towns anyway. Other than that, I do appreciate everyone's work on this, and I didn't have any questions about the revisions. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Does that bring follow-up questions? did you want to say something, Supervisor Shepherd? You look like you were thinking, well,
I guess I question, understand Mr. King's point, and I understand wanting to talk to the towns and make sure that we're on the same page, but at the end of the day, are we absolutely going to be on the same page? Or are they going to be, continue doing what they're doing?
The towns will continue doing what they're doing, and I wouldn't propose that they would change that. I think that we would just need to make sure that we're not including things in the documents that would be signed by the towns that they already do, that we wouldn't say, we know you're having an audit, we want to audit your records too, because that is not a good use of taxpayer money, and there's no need to do that. So I think we could look at what's in the document and then determine what the towns need to address, because it's my understanding from discussion with some of the town fire and rescue folks that probably their agencies wouldn't sign the document. It might be the towns, so it would need to be a completely different document that would just be specific to the things that we would need. And I honestly don't know if there's anything that would have to be changed for what the towns are currently doing.
That's kind of what I was thinking. Okay, that's all.
Does that make sense?
But the format might change.
But the towns might already do everything that's in the agreement.
It's just that the document would be organized perhaps a little bit differently,
Right.
not asking for the towns,
Maybe it would say,
agencies to,
maybe it would just say, we already audit these funds, we already do background checks, that kind of thing.
So then would we be voting on, so the timeline, the Fire and Rescue Commission meets on December the 8th, 7th. Our next meeting is December the 11th, where we could potentially vote on this, but if we voted on it at that point, if we haven't already talked to the towns, then we're voting on a decision that only impacts a portion
That's
of the
correct.
volunteer agencies.
Right.
So I agree with Supervisor King then that I think we should get to the point where we could make a decision for all and not single some of them out. It sounds like the towns have a pretty robust memorandum or some sort of system or agreement in place, but I'd like to know that information.
Right.
Before, I don't feel like it's fair to affect some and not all.
Right.
unless,
I totally agree with that. I mean, I think we ought to get it all straight, whatever we're going to do before we vote on it.
I mean, what is the hurry?
is there any benefit for us to approve this now?
No. I mean, it's not going to affect the budget any. We done went through
No.
this year.
Right.
I mean, I just don't see the big hurry of pushing this through.
From my perspective, there is no hurry. The timeline was based on our discussion with the fire and rescue folks, and that's what would work, but there's no urgent need from my perspective to do it quickly.
Well, I appreciate this going back to the fire and rescue. If each board member remembers, I brought up when it first come up, I said fire and rescue hadn't even seen this yet. And
I know they really appreciate that we did go back to them, and they also wanted me to express to the board that if you ever have questions and you want them to come to a meeting, they'll be glad to come. Some of the folks are here tonight, and they'll be glad to address the board, answer any questions that you might have.
And I will say this again, and I have said it many a times in here. Go to these departments and visit with them. Sit down and talk to them. They're open. They'll tell you whatever you want to know.
bring to everybody, okay. Well, I guess what I would say and what I'm hearing is, we want to get the input from the towns. And so, and I agree, that's really important. And I've always been a proponent, like Supervisor DeMont and Supervisor King, as to get boots on the ground involved, because I've had plenty of experiences in the education world not doing that and it doesn't work out. So I think that we're on the right track. I think we've learned from this, that when you try to implement something, that if you try the top-down strategy, it doesn't really work. You've got to go from the bottom up. At least that's my personal opinion. And I think that we're on the right track, but I do think it's important to get that input from the towns too, And I don't know, with everything coming up, do you think that's a possibility to even have that done before December 11th?
No.
I'm not thinking it is.
No, I would prefer to wait to make sure, as we've heard, that we do it correctly.
Yeah, okay.
I
So-
think that the staff can work that out too. I don't think that it needs to be necessarily a combined meeting of elected officials. I think the staff can work on that together.
Yeah,
If we would at least just give them what we went to fire and rescue over, give them a copy of it and let them look at it.
Right.
I mean, you know, it'd be the same thing as us. If somebody brought something in here and said, we're voting for this, y'all need to pick it up. Majority of us are gonna say, no, that ain't gonna work out for y'all. And as I stated before we even started, communication.
well, and I think we've seen that tonight with both of these issues, with the Reiner Park and then field. We've had communications, and it's sort of, expanded our discussion of what to do, and same with this, so.
That's right. I agree with that.
But,
We have a
yeah.
good plan to move forward with things like this in the future.
Okay, and I also thank everyone for their work on this, because I know, Steve with going to the task force, Todd, you've been involved with talking back and forth and sharing information with us, and so.
The staff has put a lot of work
Yeah, a
into
lot
this
of work
too.
in
Marty
staff, so.
has been very patient with us.
Yeah, all right. Okay, anything else on these two topics before we go out of work session? Okay, if not, I'll entertain a motion to come out of work session.
Motion.
Second,
Okay,
third.
okay, Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Ms. Bone?
Aye.
Mr. Shepherd?
Aye.
Mr. Fitchukowski?
Aye.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Ms. Biggs?
Aye.
Ms. Demotts?
Aye.
Sheriff Blevins?
Aye.
7 ayes.
And I believe that, and how long a break would you like to? An hour and a half? I don't think so. You want to take a 10-minute break? Okay, we'll have a 10-minute break, and then we'll come right back. Okay. All right, we're going to call the meeting back to order, and we are now into new business. Okay.
Excuse me,
Consent
Vice Chair
agenda.
Biggs, we have consent.
Oh, consent. Where, did I skip the consent? Oh, consent goes all the way to J. That's right. Yes, we have a whole bunch of things on consent tonight. Okay, let's do consent first. Do we have a motion for the consent agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, and roll call, please.
Mr. Shepherd?
Aye.
Mr. Fidzikowski?
Aye.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Ms. Biggs?
Aye.
Mr. Motts?
Aye.
Ms. Bone?
Aye.
Okay.
Chair Blevins?
Aye.
7 ayes.
Okay, now let's move to new business, and our first item of business is special use permit, Harvey Morse and Susan Cochran for their contractor storage yard. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All right, roll call, please.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Ms. Biggs?
Aye.
Mr. Motts?
Aye.
Ms. Bone?
Aye.
Mr. Shepherd?
Aye.
Mr. Fidzikowski?
Aye.
Chair Blevins?
Aye.
7 ayes.
Okay, our next item is the operational agreement for cooperative partnership for the opioid abatement and funding. Do you all need to say anything about this, Ms. Hill? You or Marty?
This is a resolution to approve the agreement that we spoke about at a previous meeting when Holly Lesko came and spoke to you about the opioid abatement program. It's with the jurisdictions that are participating in the partnership with us and discusses how the grant funding will flow and reporting requirements will be met and that kind of thing.
Okay, everybody
So
okay?
moved.
Okay, and a
Second.
second? Okay, any discussion? All right, roll call, please.
Ms. Biggs?
Aye.
Mr. Motts?
Aye.
Ms. Bone?
Aye.
Mr. Shepherd?
Aye.
Mr. Fidzikowski?
Aye.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Chair Blevins?
Aye.
7 ayes.
Okay, our next item is the countywide burn ban. I'm going to let Angie explain that so our citizens will understand how we do this.
There are two parts to that. The countywide burn ban can be instituted by the county administrator. The Board of Supervisors in 2016 passed a resolution that authorizes the county administrator to do that. But then in order to have an ordinance to enforce the countywide burn ban, at the next meeting, the Board of Supervisors has to take action on an ordinance and then also ratify that the burn ban could be approved by you.
Okay? Any questions before we go?
Does that mean that we have to vote to lift the burn ban?
I think that
No.
no.
I wouldn't think.
Marty, do we?
It says, what's required is you're required to confirm the burn ban that was put into effect by the county administrator. And so what the resolution says is that you confirm it and that you support continuation of it until lifted by the county administrator.
Okay.
We're just
And the
giving her
ordinance
support.
expires.
Correct.
And then she can just do, okay.
We're just giving her support.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
If you disagreed with her, now's the time. Yeah.
Is now the time?
Now is the time.
Okay.
Motion.
Okay, is there a second? All right, any more discussion? All right, roll call, please.
Mr. Motts?
Aye.
Ms. Bone?
Aye.
Mr. Shepherd?
Aye.
Mr. Fidzikowski?
Aye.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Ms. Biggs?
Aye.
Chair Blevins?
Aye.
7 ayes.
Okay. And then the next subject, of course, is the actual ordinance, and this is the prohibiting open burning on public property and prohibiting open burning on private property during declared countywide ban on open burning.
I have a question. If someone has one of those fire pit things, is that okay to use?
No.
It's
Nope.
included.
If someone has a gas fire elevated off the ground with protection around it, is that included?
I think that's probably okay, right? Yeah.
All open burns.
You can't open burn, but if you have a outdoor,
Like a grill, but it's not really a grill?
yeah, I think so long as you're not burning wood or anything that's creating embers, I think that's probably okay.
You listed it in the ordinance that it was okay.
Yeah. Right.
Okay.
I have a follow-up.
I just wanted it clarified, sorry.
Yeah, okay,
So moved.
okay.
Hold on.
Hold on.
Second, can I have a follow-up question, please?
All right, is there a second so that she can?
April
Second.
did.
April does. Okay, go ahead.
And then in this section, and I apologize for my questions in the last section, I was reading ahead. In this one, it says it shall be effective for a period of 60 days hereafter unless repealed, amended, or readopted in conformity with the provisions of such section.
Right,
So-
yeah, I was going to comment on the process. Because this is an emergency ordinance, we're doing it without following the rules of how we normally have to do ordinances, which is that code section 1427, which is you advertise for 2 successive weeks, the ordinance. And so what the rules work on emergency ordinance is it's in effect for 60 days. And then if we do not readopt it within that time period using the rules that we normally have to follow, then it would no longer be in effect. And so what I plan is to talk to our emergency coordinator, Michael, and see if we're going to need this. Does he think we'll need it more than 60 days? If so, then we'll go ahead and start the process of getting it adopted the legal way, where it won't be an emergency ordinance anymore.
Okay, that answers my questions, just about how it stops, kind of, is more where my questions were,
Right.
so thank you.
And then once we reenact it, where it would stop would be when the
60
band's no longer in place, right?
Got it, thank you.
Yep.
All right, any other questions or discussion? Yes, Supervisor Fidzikowski.
Yeah, I would just like to point out, it does say in there that, but shall not be deemed to include the use of propane or natural gas outdoor grills and similar gas-fired cooking equipment, or the proper use of emergency flares, of course, for whatever it's listed there. But I also wanted to point out, make sure that citizens understand that once we pass this, if it passes, that it is a Class 1 misdemeanor, and a Class 1 misdemeanor is pretty serious. So for those that kind of look at their situation as, well, I don't think this applies to the county's ordinance, if they are charged, I believe, unless it's changed, it's up to a $2,500 fine and a year in jail.
That's correct.
Correct.
So it's serious, so everybody just needs to understand that. And once we get through all this drought, then things will go back to normal. But with the number of fires that we've had, I know just alone in my district, it's pretty serious, so, and I'm sure it's happening everywhere.
Okay, any other discussion? All
So,
right.
so people can use their gas grills, just not fire pits.
Correct, yeah. Yeah, if you're burning it like wood or anything like that, you can't do it, right?
As long as it's something to cook with gas.
Correct.
Any time of day.
Any time of day.
Midday. Yeah, and then the other question that came to mind was, the 2 towns, are they also doing this? Because ours is only for the county.
I let the towns know that we were instituting the burn ban. So I don't know, I'm not certain that they are, that they declared a burn ban in the towns.
Well, because fire goes over boundaries. So, is that something we need to ask again about?
Yes, I'll do that.
Do the board members feel okay asking the 2 towns, like for staff to ask? Because, yeah.
I don't understand why a countywide ban on open burning wouldn't,
I think it covers them, doesn't it?
yeah, I mean, they're in the county. It's a countywide ban.
Yeah, but they have their own ordinance, right?
Right.
Yeah, they have their own ordinance. We can't overstep them.
Oh, okay. Well, then, yeah, I think
Yeah,
if we could
I would-
encourage them
yeah.
to adopt their own.
right. I think that is important because of what's happened already. so-
Right, I'll check and make sure.
Okay, all right, great, all right. So let's see, ready to vote?
Ms. Bone?
Aye.
Mr. Shepherd?
Aye.
Mr. Jakowski?
Aye.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Ms. Biggs?
Aye.
Mr. Motts?
Aye.
Chair Blevins?
Aye.
7 ayes.
Okay, so our next item here is a resolution for National Lung Cancer Awareness Month. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Okay, any discussion? All right, roll call.
Vice Chair Biggs.
Oh, yes.
Vice Chair Biggs.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Thank you. It's so important to have this awareness. As most of you all know, my sister Sheila just lost her battle with lung cancer 3 weeks ago. And so it's so important for people to be aware of the dangers, and cancer sucks. And so I pray that we have a cure one day. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, roll call.
Mr. Shepherd?
Aye.
Mr. Chakowski?
Aye.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Ms. Biggs?
Aye.
Mr. Motts?
Aye.
Ms. Bone?
Aye.
Chair Blevins?
Aye.
7 ayes.
Okay, and our next item is a resolution for Small Business Saturday.
So moved.
Which is November 25th. Everyone do it.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All right, roll call.
Mr. Chakowski?
Aye.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Ms. Biggs?
Aye.
Mr. Motts?
Aye.
Ms. Bone?
Aye.
Mr. Shepherd?
Aye.
Chair Blevins?
Aye.
7 ayes.
Okay, and our next item of business is a resolution of recognition for our board member, Sherry Blevins, that will be retiring at the end of December. And just so you know, Sherry, we've got that all in place, and that will be presented and read to you before our last meeting. We usually have a little reception for our board members that are retiring, and so we will be presenting that to you, so you have to be sure you're at that meeting. So,
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
you're welcome. Okay. Do we have a motion
So moved.
and a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All right, roll call, please.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Ms. Biggs?
Aye.
Mr. Motts?
Aye.
Ms. Bone?
Aye.
Mr. Shepherd?
Aye.
Mr. Chakowski?
Aye.
Chair Blevins?
Aye.
Yes, you need to vote for your
Thank you all.
resolution. It's really, really good.
Thank you.
You want, oh,
It's been an honor to serve.
yeah, you can bring it up if you want. Yeah. Well, he's going to bring something up under his board member business.
Now? Okay.
No, when we do board member business, you take it away, because we always do that.
Yeah,
Yes.
but then we'll be past where we can vote on it.
Oh, you want to do it now? Okay, go ahead. I mean, we don't have one in front of us, but yes, we will be doing one. Tell everybody what your thinking is.
Marty, would it be legal if we added Darrell to this for our next meeting so we could have everything fixed up?
I think it'd be highly illegal. No, I'm just kidding.
We plan to have the resolution put together for the next meeting for you to have the actual wording, but if you want to give that support tonight, that will be
Well, I
fine.
just want to make sure so we
Yes.
can get it at our next meeting.
Yes,
With Chair Blevins.
yes.
Okay, so what she's offering to you, Todd, is if you would like to go ahead and make a motion, have a second, to leave it in the hands of our staff to come up with this remarkable, award-winning resolution for Supervisor Darrell Shepherd, who has given 8 years of public service to the citizens of Montgomery County, that you can do that at this time.
Yes.
Well, can we trust the staff with it, though?
I think we can.
I like to make a motion to add Supervisor Shepherd.
Second.
Okay, and that would also be presented at that last meeting of our year,
Yes.
in a little reception. Okay, any other discussion? All right, roll call.
Mr. Chakowski?
Aye.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Ms. Motts?
Aye.
Ms. Bone?
Aye.
Ms. Biggs?
Aye.
Mr. Shepherd?
Aye.
Chair Blevins?
Aye.
7 ayes.
Okay. Yeah, we always have to have, it's nice to have a little bit of levity here. Okay, now comes the most exciting part of our meeting, and that is our county attorney report.
I would just to take this opportunity under my report to welcome Chris Lawrence to the dais tonight, and it's good to have you.
Okay, all right, and county administrator.
Thank you, Vice Chair Biggs. It has been an exciting 15 days, and I would like to welcome Chris to the dais as well. in these 15 days, I have issued a burn ban, dealt with the power outage at the government center. So I hope that things smooth out and I don't have so many things all at once, but it's okay. They're all good. I was fortunate to attend the VACO annual conference earlier this week with several of you. That was the first time I'd attended that, and I got to attend several very informative sessions and also become acquainted with some new people and reconnect with others that I already knew. I spoke with Dr. Reagan recently about the joint meeting that we will have with the school board on November 29th, just to remind you. And the plan is that we're going to have dinner prepared by a culinary arts class,
nice.
One of the high school classes. We're firming up which class that will be in the location for the meeting, but that's coming along. And I just would like to wish all of you a happy Thanksgiving. Our county offices will be closed at noon Wednesday, the 22nd through Friday. And I do wish you all a happy Thanksgiving, and we will be enjoying Thanksgiving with our loved ones, since you're so gracious to let us have those days off. Thank you.
I have one question about the joint meeting. I know a lot of things have happened on the school side that, the school board and staff have really had to deal with. Did they say anything about us doing anything that they need as far as giving? Like we talked a little bit about that.
Yes, they're going to firm that up as well. There was a discussion about the board, the people that come to the meeting bringing something for the students, maybe canned goods for the backpack program or something like that on the 29th. So we'll let you know that in plenty of time as well.
Okay. All right, great. Thank you so much. All right, so that gets us to our Board of Supervisor reports. And first up is Supervisor Fidzikowski.
I don't really have a report, but I do wish everybody a safe and happy Thanksgiving. As the holidays get closer, things start to get a little crazier, so keep your wits about you. That's all I say. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, Supervisor King.
Don't have no report, but I just want to remind people, it's getting cold outside. Please check your chimneys and have your furnace serviced. And one thing for you, candy.
Oh, dear. Okay, Supervisor DeMott.
York peppermint patties is what he wants. I'll just add on to what Supervisor King said. It is getting cold outside. Please make provisions for any animals that you have outdoors as well. I was privileged to attend the VACO conference with several of my colleagues. It was a really, really wonderful conference, a lot of great education. It's always wonderful to connect with other leaders and companies that are doing business in Virginia. One thing that, I moderated a panel on broadband, and this was on federal broadband, not local or Virginia-based initiatives. And so I was hoping to ask staff just to make sure that we are viewing the FCC's broadband underserved and unserved map, because they're in the open challenge period now. I'm sure our Economic Development Office is already on that, but Evan Feynman from the FCC was so stringent on make sure to challenge the map if you see an area that needs it. So
yes, we do continue to look at that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Wonderful, and that's all that I had. Thank you.
Okay, and Supervisor Bone.
I also want to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving, but the next meeting we're going to have is December 11th. So
there's a meeting before that.
Yeah.
Yeah, on the 27th,
7th.
Monday, the 20th.
Okay, I'm not going to be at that one, but I'm not sure if I can even call in on that one.
Okay.
As well as the one on the 29th.
Right.
That we just talked about. So in anticipation, a lot of Christmas tree lighting, like in the towns and stuff like that, happen right after Thanksgiving. Actually, they happen at the beginning of December, so enjoy the beginning of the holiday season is all I really wanted to say. Thank you very much.
You got it out, okay. Supervisor Shepherd?
Just a couple things. I want to make sure, I wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. And I don't know if any of you know it or not, but I was here on the morning that Mr. Lawrence started, and he probably won't remember it because there's so much going on, but I held the door for him when he come in. So I think that he's going to hold the door for me at my last meeting when I leave. That's all I have.
Oh, that's great.
And make sure I get the candy you want.
Yeah.
I don't think I need the candy.
All right, Chair Blevins?
Yes, I was able to attend VACO, and that was a very informative. It's great to be able to collaborate with other localities and understand that they have many of the same challenges that we're facing, and to be able to share that information to best serve our citizens. Also wanted to do a quick shout out to the American Business Women Association for their Coats for Kids drive. Another reason that I love Montgomery County is the great collaboration between our community partners, our businesses. Everyone came together, and there were over 460 new and gently used coats that were donated to benefit the Women's Resource Center of the New River Valley. And we also had Miss Virginia visit us today for that, and her platform is to end domestic violence too. So it's great to see, especially given the tragedy lately in Blacksburg, however this community can come together and support these great organizations to fight that. I want to wish everyone a very happy Thanksgiving, and I wanted to thank the board for your support and prayers during the loss of my sister. My family has really been just thank you so much, and that's all I have.
Okay, and then what I have is, Marty, believe it or not, I moderated the the session on law cases affecting counties, and Mr. McRoberts was there, Andrew McRoberts, and all I can say to you all is thank goodness we have Marty for making sure that we don't get into trouble, you know, and because there's so many other things that are facing a lot of the other localities, and you know, some of them I wasn't even aware of. So thank you, Marty, for keeping us out of trouble. And then thank you all tonight, staff and board members, for keeping me straight when I lost my page numbers. And I want to wish everyone, as I used to tell my kids at school, safe and happy Thanksgiving, especially if you're traveling anywhere. Please be safe. And is there any other further business or comments? Then we are officially adjourned.
Thank you.